Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks.
The hall was grand, chandeliers dripping crystals, roses draped like royalty over archways, and violins playing a piece too delicate to remember. But I remember the name tag, Housekeeper, printed in black letters on a plain sticker, stuck to the plastic badge they handed me at the check-in table. For a second I waited. I thought maybe they'd noticed the mistake. Maybe someone would laugh and say, "Oh no, sorry, wrong one." But no one did. My mother-in-law watched from a distance. Her smirk wasn't subtle. She tilted her head as if daring me to react. I didn't. I peeled the sticker and pressed it to my chest like it didn't sting. My wife walked past with a flute of champagne, barely glanced my way. "You found your spot?" she asked, already turning away. "Yeah," I murmured. Not that she cared. My seat was near the kitchen doors. A foldable chair, no linen, no cutlery, just a paper napkin folded like an apology. I sat there as servers rushed past with trays I wasn't meant to touch. No one greeted me, no one toasted in my direction. I was invisible until her mother walked by and said, not even quietly at least, "You're dressed for the part," and my wife. She laughed. Dad said, "Food's for family, Mom." That was the moment I stopped being surprised. I took off my ring, left it on the table, stood up and walked out of the wedding like a stranger sneaking out the back. I didn't look back. 12 years. That's how long I'd been around. Long enough to remember when her father got sick and no one could afford the bills, so I worked double shifts. When her sister cried about missing her semester, I sold my laptop and told her it was old anyway. I paid rent when no one else could, bought groceries when they couldn't scrape together gas money. I didn't ask, I just did. Because that's what you do for family, right? Wrong, they didn't see me as family. I was support, an extra pair of hands, someone they could rely on, not appreciate. I started to notice it early, but I brushed it off. The missed birthdays, the jokes at my expense, the way she'd correct my manners in front of guests like I was a servant. It built slowly. When her father passed, I was the one who stood at the front of the procession. I paid for the casket, emptied our savings. She cried that night, and I held her. She didn't ask how I paid for it. She never asked. Over the years, it changed. Not all at once. First it was her forgetting my birthday, then mocking the way I dressed. "You look like a school janitor," she joked once in front of her cousins. They laughed. I laughed too, but it stuck with me. She started taking separate trips with her friends. Vegas, Napa, New York, always girl only. I never minded. Until I found pictures where she introduced another guy as my person. I asked, she said it was a joke. Everything was a joke with her. She stopped introducing me properly. At events, she'd wave vaguely. "That's him." She'd say, "No name, no label, just ... him." Once, I brought it up. She rolled her eyes, said I was insecure, that I should be proud she didn't need to babysit me at parties. I was working longer shifts, still sending money to help her mother, her sister. When her sister needed a new laptop, I gave her mine. For a full year, I wrote out my reports by hand. "You don't keep receipts in love." That's what I told myself. The wedding was the final crack, the moment everything I'd swallowed came up like acid. No seat, no plate, a plastic tag that said Housekeeper, and the worst part, no one in her family flinched. Her cousins laughed, her mother sneered, and my wife, the woman I had sacrificed for, didn't even blink. She laughed when I stood to leave. No one stopped me. No one noticed the ring I left behind on the cheap napkin. But 5 minutes later, I heard her voice, panicked. "Wait, where is he?" "Too late." I moved out that night. I didn't wait for her to come home. I shut down the joint accounts, transferred what was mine. I had quietly been keeping receipts after all, in documents, in registrations, in ownership papers. She never cared to read. The car she drove, bought in my name. I sold it. The business I helped them register under my better credit, removed my name, let the taxes catch up to them. The property their father left, half was processed under my legal aid. Without me it was tied up in disputes. I didn't argue, didn't leave a note, just disappeared. She texted, called, left, voicemails, crying and shouting, sometimes both in one. It was a joke. "Please come home. You're ruining everything." No, I wasn't. They had already ruined it. I was just finally walking away from the ashes. Within weeks, the cracks became earthquakes. The catering company sued for non-payment. The photographer refused to release the wedding album. The house they thought they inherited got tied up. In court, the business got audited. I didn't plan revenge. I just removed the glue I had quietly been holding everything together with. Word got around. Friends started calling, not to take sides, just to say they never understood why I stuck around so long. Neither did I, honestly. I started fresh, got a clean apartment, a quiet place with good coffee down the street. No drama, no manipulation, just peace. One afternoon, she showed up, She looked tired, makeup free, hollow, the fire in her eyes gone. Can we talk? She asked. I let her speak. She apologized. Said she made mistakes, blamed her mother, blamed the pressure. Said I was the only good thing she had. She cried. She asked if I remembered our wedding vows. I did. I just didn't think they included being humiliated in public by the people I once called family. When she asked, do you still love me? I didn't answer. I stepped back and quietly closed the door. Not in anger, just peace. Because sometimes silence is the loudest sentence of all, and I was never her housekeeper. Not anymore.